Biker slapped the delivery girl. She left him curled up under his own bike. The summer heat settled over Willow Creek, Montana, like a warm, heavy blanket, softening the edges of the small town nestled among golden wheat fields and low hills. Time moved slower here, as if the world beyond operated at a different pace. Main Street was a snapshot of small-town America, unchanged for decades. Peterson's Hardware, Willow Creek Pharmacy, Baxter's Grocery, and at the heart of it all, Daisy's Diner. The red brick diner with its weathered wooden sign had stood since 1956, serving comfort food and strong coffee to generations of locals. Its large windows offered a clear view of the street, where wheat-hauling trucks rumbled by and familiar faces passed with predictable rhythm. Inside, Clara Evans, the 60-something owner who inherited the place from her mother Daisy, wiped down the worn Formica counter with practiced hands. The morning rush had faded, leaving a few regulars nursing coffee and swapping gossip in the quiet hum of rural life. "Order up for the Bradley farm," Clara called, sliding a paper bag across the counter. Emily Carter stepped out from the back, adjusting her blue Daisy's Diner cap. At 35, Emily was young for Willow Creek, her short blonde hair framing a face that rarely saw makeup. A denim jacket covered a plain t-shirt paired with jeans and sturdy boots. Nothing remarkable. "Got it, Clara," she said, her calm voice easing the air around her. "Breakfast platters and apple pie, right?" Clara nodded, smiling. "And Tom's extra bacon. He'll clog his arteries one day." Emily's blue eyes scanned the bag's contents with near-professional precision, a check done in seconds. "Back in 40, unless Mrs. Bradley talks about her grandkids," she said, tucking the bag into her delivery backpack. Clara glanced at the near-empty diner. "Take your time. It's slow today." And Emily, watch that back road. Hank Peterson saw bikers camping near Pine Creek yesterday. Probably tourists, but be careful. A flicker of focus passed through Emily's eyes. Gone in an instant, her voice casual. "I'll keep an eye out." The bell chimed as she stepped into the morning sun. Emily unhitched her sturdy bicycle equipped with a front basket and saddlebags. In a town as small as Willow Creek, bikes were the norm for deliveries. Cars felt excessive. Pedaling down Main Street, her movements were efficient, unnoticed by the townsfolk who waved. To them, she was just Emily, the delivery girl who returned 18 months ago to care for her ailing mother, Helen. Rumor said she'd joined the army after high school, worked some government job back east, then came home. Nobody pried further in a town that valued privacy, despite its love for gossip. The Bradley farm was 3 miles out along a dirt road tracing Pine Creek through dense forest. Emily kept a steady pace, shifting gears as the terrain changed, her eyes constantly moving, scanning the road, checking the tree line, catching reflections to see behind her. Old habits from a past she kept buried. Around a bend, the rumble of motorcycle engines hit her ears. She didn't react outwardly, but her mind catalogued the sound 4 or 5 heavy bikes, likely American-made. They appeared at the next curve, 5 riders on gleaming Harley-Davidsons moving in tight formation. The leader was massive, his frame dwarfing the bike's gray streaked beard flowing over a patch-covered leather vest, tattooed arms thick as tree trunks. 4 others followed, their vests marked with a steel skull and red eyes. Emily eased her bike to the road's edge, giving them space, her head down as if focused on the gravel. Her peripheral vision caught everything: patches, concealed weapons, their synchronized movements. The lead biker slowed, his cold, calculating eyes meeting hers for a moment. Emily's face stayed neutral, just a local on a delivery run. As they passed, she tracked their engines' fading roar toward town, exhaling only when silence returned. The Bradley farm appeared soon after, a modest farmhouse with a red barn amid wheat fields. Emily rolled up the gravel drive as Ellen Bradley stepped onto the porch, her warm smile disarming. "Right on time," Ellen said, wiping floury hands on her apron. "Tom's in the backfield, but he'll be sorry he missed you. Come in for some lemonade." Emily secured her bike. "Just a minute, Mrs. Bradley. Clara's expecting me back." The kitchen smelled of fresh bread as Ellen poured lemonade. Emily unpacked the food platter's pie bacon, while Ellen slipped into gossip mode. "Did you see those bikers rode by 10 minutes ago? Rough as sandpaper." Emily nodded, sipping her drink. "Passed them on the road." "Know who they are?" Ellen shook her head. "Not tourists, that's for sure. Tom says they're camped by Pine Creek, maybe tied to that trouble in Bozeman last month. Steel something. Steel Reapers." Emily supplied the name, instantly regretting it as Ellen's brows rose. "How'd you know that?" Emily shrugged. "Saw it in the Willow Creek Herald. They mentioned trouble along Highway 89. Ellen accepted this, moving on to grandkid updates and town gossip. Emily listened, but her mind was on the Steel Reapers, a name tied to memories she'd buried not from her army days, but from 7 years in a classified task force targeting criminal syndicates like this one. The Steel Reapers weren't just bikers. They were a sophisticated drug trafficking operation linked to Mexican cartels with networks across 6 states. Publicly, they were a rowdy motorcycle club. Privately, they dealt in meth weapons and violence against rivals or witnesses. Now they were in Willow Creek, a town with 2 deputies and a part-time police force. Emily pedaled back faster, noting 5 motorcycles parked outside the Rusty Spur, the town's early opening bar. She filed it away and returned to Daisy's, where the lunch rush was underway. Clara waved her to the counter, 3 delivery orders waiting. "Ellen, talk your ear off?" she asked, ringing up a bill. "Just grandkid updates," Emily replied, grabbing a slip. "And some biker talk." Clara's face darkened. "They were here 20 minutes ago, ordered breakfast, made a mess. Tipped well, though. Big guy with a skull tattoo asked about the town who owns what, how many cops." Emily's expression stayed neutral, but her mind raced. "Probably passing through," she said lightly. "Hope so," Clara muttered. Orders for Doc Harper's office, the bank, then the hardware store. Emily worked through the day, delivering orders, chatting briefly, and observing. By 8:00 p.m., she'd mapped the bikers' movements. They'd hit every business, lingered at the Rusty Spur, and headed to Pine Creek by evening, closing up with Clara. The diner's TV played local news. A segment caught Emily's ear. "Bozeman police are investigating last month's arson at City Hall. Sources link it to missing evidence in a drug case, with rumors pointing to the Steel Reapers." Clara shook her head. "Awful business. My sister in Bozeman says the police are scrambling." Emily swept the floor, her mind calculating risks. "You heading home?" Clara asked as they stepped outside. "Yeah, Mom's waiting," Emily said, securing her backpack. Her bungalow, tucked behind pines, glowed warmly. She locked her bike in the utility room, securing 3 locks before entering the kitchen. Helen sat at the table, a book open, her silver hair catching the light. At 68, her sharp features mirrored Emily's, though arthritis twisted her hands. "You're late," she said, not looking up. "Busy day," Emily replied, hanging her jacket. "How are you feeling?" Helen closed her book, her blue eyes assessing. "Same as yesterday. They're in town, aren't they?" Emily nodded, filling a kettle. 5. Advance party, probably." Helen's voice hardened. "Call Jim." Emily shook her head. "Not yet. Need more info." Helen sighed. "You're not with the task force anymore. You don't have to do this alone." Emily turned, her tone firm. "I'm just watching. And Jim's retired from the DEA." Helen's eyes narrowed. Like, you're retired? Emily didn't answer. Her classified past missions that never officially happened hung between them. Helen, a Vietnam-era Army nurse, understood enough. "I'll call contacts tomorrow," Emily conceded. Helen nodded. "Good. Stew's in the oven." After dinner, Emily helped Helen to bed, then checked the house windows, locked blinds, drawn alarm armed. In the basement behind a hidden concrete wall was a room revealing her true life. A gun safe held a Glock 19, a Remington 870, an M4 carbine. She checked the Glock, holstering it. At a communication station, she accessed a secret database. The Steel Reapers file confirmed their expansion into small towns, their violence, beatings, arson murders, unproven in court. A new indictment against Victor Hammer Ramsey. Their leader explained their presence. He was hiding in Willow Creek. Emily closed the laptop, her options clear. The FBI was too slow for a rural response. She needed intel on their plans and numbers, and to confirm her cover held. At midnight, she pedaled toward Pine Creek in dark clothing, her delivery girl guise a perfect cover. Hiding her bike, she moved silently through the forest, finding a vantage point above their camp. 8 bikes, 7 men at a fire, 1 on watch. Ramsey spoke of a drug shipment arriving tomorrow, targeting Daisy's diner. Emily retreated, distracting a guard with a thrown rock. Back home at dawn, she texted a secure contact, birds nesting in the willow tree. "Full flock tomorrow. Need gardening advice." The reply, horticulturist available. ETA 72 hours. Observe only. 3 days was too long. Emily would handle containment with local allies, Willow Creek's hidden veterans. As dawn broke, she rested lightly, the town's peace about to break, and Emily, the delivery girl, stood ready. Daisy's diner opened at 6 a.m. The morning light filtering through its windows, casting soft shadows across the Formica counter. Emily Carter arrived early, her face betraying no hint of her nighttime reconnaissance or brief sleep. She moved through her tasks with precision, brewing coffee, checking supplies, wiping down already clean counters. Clara Evans unlocked the front door at 5:55 with her mother's old brass key, eyeing Emily in her blue Daisy's cap and apron. "Eager today," Clara said, hanging her denim jacket. Emily slid a coffee across the counter. "Couldn't sleep. Thought I'd be useful." The morning brought the usual breakfast crowd, regulars with their standard orders, voices low with small-town gossip. By 9 Hodru, the rush slowed, leaving a few patrons with newspapers or laptops. Emily was stacking delivery orders when the door's bell chimed. A lean man with gray hair and a military straight posture entered, dressed in a flannel shirt and worn boots. To most, he was Jack Sullivan, the town handyman. To Emily, he was a former Special Forces captain, retired to Willow Creek 5 years ago. "Morning." Jack, Clara called. Usual, Jack nodded, his voice gravelly. "Please?" He sat at the counter, and Emily set a black coffee before him, their eyes meeting briefly in a silent exchange. "Got a leak under my sink," Jack said casually. "Can you ask your mom about that pipe wrench I lent her?" Emily caught the code. "I'll stop by after my shift." Jack sipped his coffee, murmuring, "Heard motorcycles by my place last night heading to Pine Creek." Emily wiped the counter. "Those bikers from yesterday?" Jack's eyes narrowed. "Too many for tourists." Before she could reply, the bell rang again, and the diner's air shifted. Conversation stopped as a tall, powerfully built man entered, his shaved head, gleaming beard trimmed close. His leather vest bore the Steel Reaper's steel skull insignia patches, marking illicit deeds. Marcus Reed. Emily knew from her intel ex-army, dishonorably discharged an enforcer skilled in intimidation and arson. His cold eyes scanned the room, lingering on each person. On Emily, she kept her face neutral, showing mild curiosity. "Morning," he said, voice soft but menacing. "Heard you've got the best breakfast in town." Clara, unfazed, replied, "We think so. Sit anywhere. Emily'll bring a menu." Emily handed Marcus a menu at a booth with a view of the door and kitchen tactical positioning. As she turned, he said, "You're the delivery girl, right?" She faced him with a polite smile. "That's me. Coffee while you look." He nodded, eyes fixed on her. "Saw you on the road yesterday. You get around." Emily shrugged. "Small town. I cover it all." His smile was cold. "Good to know. Might have deliveries of my own needing handling." The hint was clear they wanted local drug channels. Emily stayed bland. "We only do food, but you'll find what you need." She fetched his coffee, feeling his gaze. Jack watched his calm, that of a seasoned operative. As she returned, he murmured, "Your mom still need fence help." Emily understood he was activating their veteran network. "Yeah, West Side," she replied softly. Jack left cash and exited. She knew he'd contact Tom Bradley, a Marine sniper, Doc Harper, a Navy corpsman, and Mike Larson, a Force Recon Marine turned principal. For 30 minutes, Emily served customers, prepped deliveries, and watched Marcus. He ate slowly, eyeing everyone entering or leaving, made a quiet phone call likely to Ramsey. At the register, Clara rang him up, her hands steady. He leaned in. "Nice place." "Been here long." Clara's voice was stiff. "Since 1956. Marcus's tone shifted. "Tough for small businesses. Costs pile up, insurance, repairs, security." Clara bristled. "We manage." He slid a card across. "Everyone needs protection. My associates look out for places we like. Talk to your finance guy. We'll be back tomorrow." He left, leaving tension. Clara held the card like it was toxic. "Trying to shake us down like it's the 50s. Emily checked at a number and Reaper insignia. "What'll you do?" Clara snorted. "Call Sheriff Dawson, though he's swamped with the festival tomorrow." Her hands shook. "My cousin's diner in Great Falls got hit last year. These gangs demand money, then launder drugs through you." Emily touched her arm. "They won't take daisies. I promise." Clara looked up. "What did you do before coming back?" Emily's cover held. Government admin work. Boring. Clara wasn't convinced, but let it go. "You make people feel safe." The afternoon was tense. Reaper intimidation hit the pharmacy and Doc Harper's clinic. By closing, Main Street was quiet residents avoiding the bikers now patrolling openly. Emily saw Jack pass the diner thrice, signaling 8 network positions active. "Go home, Clara," she said during cleanup. "I'll finish." Clara hesitated. "They're coming after closing. I'm not leaving you." Emily was firm. "I'll tell them to talk tomorrow. Go to Jim." Clara left reluctantly. Emily adjusted tables for movement, placed heavy objects strategically. Headlights flashed as motorcycles arrived. She stood behind the counter, hand near a skillet ready. Ramsey entered with Marcus and 2 Reapers, their swagger menacing. Emily showed controlled nervousness. "We're closed," she said. Ramsey laughed. "Not here for coffee." "Where's the old lady?" Emily replied. "Mrs. Evans is home. Leave a message." Ramsey loomed closer, his tattooed arm menacing. "We'll talk to you, Emily. Willow Creek's ours now. Businesses pay protection, or bad things happen." Emily stayed calm. "I'm just an employee," Marcus snapped. $2,000 a month cash tomorrow." Ramsey added, "You look familiar." "Met before," Emily deflected. "Lived here most my life except some admin work." He pressed. "What kind?" she said. "Government contractor filing." He dismissed it. "Tell Evans we'll collect tomorrow. And don't run to Dawson, his family's at risk." Emily nodded. Understood. As they reached the door, Jack appeared. Checking if Emily needs a ride. Bike's flat. Ramsey glared. Who are you? Jack was calm. Jack Sullivan, handyman. Marcus stepped up. Bad timing, old man. Jack held firm. Business looks done. Place is closed. Ramsey backed off, laughing. For now. He warned Jacktown's changing. Choose wisely. After they left, Jack locked the door, adjusted blinds. You okay? Emily nodded. Warehouse base. 20 Reapers more coming. Ramsey might recognize me. Jack frowned. Your assessment. Emily said intimidation rackets. Drug distribution. DEA's 3 days out. Jack replied. Too long. Civilian risk. Emily pulled her encrypted phone. Networks active. Tom, Doc, Mike. Jack suggested recon tonight. Emily agreed. 2300 Fire Road behind Baxter's farm. Dark gear. Jack warned watch for tails. Emily closed up, took back roads home, and found Helen with a shotgun. Late Helen said, Reapers hit daisies. Emily replied, checking windows. Recon tonight. Helen sighed. Like your father. Emily prepped in her basement's hidden room tactical gear, Glock knife comms. A message from Tom 8, new bikes at warehouse. At 10:45 she slipped out, meeting Jack. Clear route, he said. Tom's on optics, Doc's on comms. They moved silently to the warehouse, observing 25 bikes guards and a drug-laden truck. A cartel SUV arrived, confirming a major operation. Emily's resolve hardened. Willow Creek was hers to protect, and the Reapers would pay for underestimating it. As the last light of dusk faded, Daisy's diner stood quiet, its windows reflecting the soft glow of Willow Creek's streetlights. Emily Carter had just finished her subtle preparations tables repositioned for clear movement, heavy objects within reach, when the roar of motorcycle engines cut through the evening air. Headlights swept across the front windows as several bikes pulled up outside their presence, an unmistakable signal that the Steel Reapers were making their move. Emily positioned herself behind the counter, her right hand inches from a cast-iron skillet, her left near the panic button Clara had installed years ago, wired directly to Sheriff Dawson's office. The bell above the door chimed, despite the closed sign, and Victor Hammer Ramsey stepped inside, flanked by Marcus Reed and 2 other Reapers, their leather vests emblazoned with the steel skull insignia. They moved with the swagger of men used to dominating any space they entered, their boots heavy on the worn linoleum floor. Emily maintained her delivery girl persona, letting a hint of nervousness flicker across her face, just enough to seem authentic without appearing weak. I'm sorry we're closed, she said, her voice steady but non-confrontational. Ramsey's laugh was a low rumble like gravel in a cement mixer. That's all right, sweetheart. We're not here for coffee. His eyes, cold and calculating, scanned the diner, taking in every detail. Where's the old lady who runs this place? Emily kept her posture relaxed, her hands visible on the counter. Mrs. Evans went home for the night. If you want to leave a message, I'll make sure she gets it tomorrow. Ramsey stepped closer, his massive frame over 6 feet tall, broad as a linebacker looming over her. Up close, his gray-streaked beard and the skull tattoo on his forearm seemed to carry their own menace. No message needed. We'll talk to you instead. He grinned, revealing tobacco-stained teeth. Name's Ramsey. Victor Ramsey. Folks call me Hammer for obvious reasons. What's yours, girl? Emily met his gaze, her expression neutral. Emily. Ramsey nodded, his eyes narrowing slightly. Well, Emily, here's the deal. Willow Creek's Steel Reapers territory now. Every business pays for protection insurance against bad things happening. Nice place like this be a shame if a fire broke out or customers got hurt. Emily's voice stayed even. I'm just an employee, Mr. Ramsey. I don't handle financial decisions for daisies. You'll need to talk to Mrs. Evans. Marcus stepped forward, his patience visibly thinning, his shaved head gleaming under the diner's lights. Listen, delivery girl, we're not asking. Protection fees $2,000 a month, cash starting tomorrow. Tell the old lady. Emily let her eyes drop, slightly feigning intimidation. I'll tell her. Anything else? Ramsey studied her for a long moment, his expression shifting to something more thoughtful, almost suspicious. You look familiar. We crossed paths before. A jolt of alarm ran through Emily, carefully masked behind her nervous facade. I don't think so. I've lived here most of my life, except a few years away for work. Ramsey pressed his voice, sharpening. What kind of work Emily's cover held? Administrative government contractor. Mostly filing. He stared, trying to place her, but finally seemed to dismiss the thought. Make sure Mrs. Evans gets our message. We'll be back tomorrow for the first payment. He turned to leave, then paused, his voice dropping to a menacing growl. And don't run to Sheriff Dawson. He's got a wife and kids. Be a shame if something happened to them. Emily nodded once, playing her role perfectly. I understand. The Reapers filed out, but as they reached the door, it swung open unexpectedly. Jack Sullivan stood in the doorway, his weathered face unreadable as he took in the scene. Evening, he said mildly, his flannel shirt and work boots giving him the look of an ordinary handyman. Just checking if Emily needs a ride home. Her bike's got a flat. Ramsey's eyes narrowed. And who are you, old-timer? Jack's posture stayed relaxed, but his eyes were alert. Jack Sullivan. Fix things around town. Marcus stepped forward, his stance aggressive. Bad time to play hero handyman. We're in a private business meeting. Jack didn't budge. Looks done to me. Place is closed. The air crackled with tension as Ramsey and Jack sized each other up, two predators staking territory. After a beat, Ramsey backed down with a dismissive laugh. We're done for now. He gestured to his men, who brushed past Jack, one deliberately bumping his shoulder. Ramsey paused beside him. Word of advice, handyman. This town's changing hands. Pick your side carefully. Jack's face remained impassive. I'll keep that in mind. When the motorcycles roared away, Jack locked the door, adjusted the blinds, and turned to Emily. You okay? She nodded, stepping from behind the counter. They're setting up at the old mill warehouse. At least 20 now, maybe more coming. Ramsey thinks he recognizes me. Not sure how much he knows. Jack's expression darkened. That's trouble. Your assessment. They're following their playbook. Intimidate locals, set up protection rackets, establish drug distribution. DEA says 3 days until a team's here. Jack shook his head. Too long. Once they're dug in, it's a siege with civilian casualties. Emily agreed grimly. We need to delay them, disrupt their setup. She pulled an encrypted phone from her backpack. I've activated the network. Tom Bradley's watching the North Road. Doc Harper's on comms. Mike Larson's got the West approach. Jack raised an eyebrow. Larson, the school principal. Emily nodded. Force recon. 2 tours in Iraq. A faint smile crossed Jack's face. This town's full of surprises. What's the play tonight? Emily checked her watch. Recon on the warehouse. Confirm numbers, resources, vulnerabilities. Jack's tone was firm. Not alone. Emily met his gaze. You're coming. Meet me at the old fire road behind Baxter's farm. 2300 hours. Dark clothing, basic kit. Jack nodded and left, warning her to watch for tails on the main roads. Emily finished closing, exiting through the back door, and wheeling her bike through the alley behind Main Street, using the darkness and her knowledge of Willow Creek's back roads to avoid detection. At her bungalow, Helen waited in the kitchen, a shotgun across her lap, her silver hair catching the light. "You're late," she said, her voice tight with concern. "Got held up," Emily replied, locking the door and checking the street. The Reapers visited Daisy's made their protection pitch. Helen's grip tightened on the gun. "They watching the house." Emily nodded. "Possibly. I took the long way but assume they're eyeing key spots." She faced her mother. "I'm going out tonight. Recon." Helen's tone mixed resignation and pride. "Like your father, always in the fight." Emily had 3 hours before meeting Jack. "I'll prep, then help you to bed." Helen waved her off. "I'm not helpless yet. Do what you need to. Just come back in one piece." Emily kissed her mother's forehead. "Always do." In the basement, behind a hidden concrete wall, Emily entered her secure room. She changed into black tactical gear, cargo pants, long-sleeve shirt, soft-soled boots, and selected equipment. A combat knife in an ankle sheath, a red-filtered flashlight, a comms earpiece, her Glock 19 in a shoulder holster, extra magazines. Her encrypted phone buzzed with a message from Tom Bradley. 8 new bikes at warehouse. Armed guards at all entrances. The Reapers were moving faster than expected, driven by Ramsey's federal indictment or something else. At 10:45 p.m., Emily slipped out through a concealed basement tunnel to an abandoned well house, moving through the darkness with practiced stealth, avoiding main roads. Jack waited at the fire road, a shadow in dark clothing, a holstered weapon under his jacket. "Clear route to the warehouse via the old wheat trail," he reported. "Tom's on the North Ridge with optics. Doc's monitoring police channels." Emily nodded. "Move out? Keep distance, hand signals only, unless critical." They traversed the forest east of Willow Creek, their movements silent and precise. The abandoned mill warehouse loomed after 20 minutes, a massive concrete structure once the town's economic hub, now surrounded by a rusted chain-link fence. From a wooded hillside, they observed 25 motorcycles parked in formation, floodlights illuminating the perimeter, 4 armed guards patrolling. A semi-truck at the loading dock was being unloaded crates, moved inside a major drug operation. They watched for an hour, noting patrol patterns and key personnel. As they prepared to withdraw, a black SUV with tinted windows arrived. 4 men in dark suits, likely cartels, stepped out, greeted by Ramsey Marcus and armed guards. "Escalation," Jack whispered. "Cartel doesn't show for routine drops." Emily nodded. "Big setup using the festival as cover." The visitors entered the warehouse, signaling a larger operation, possibly international. As they retreated, Emily's instincts flared. She froze, signaling Jack. A shadow shifted 70 yards away, another watcher. She indicated the position. Jack flanked silently. His voice came through her earpiece, barely audible. "Sheriff Dawson alone, recon." Dawson, a decent lawman, but untrained for this, was at risk. Emily circled behind him, whispering, "Don't move, Sheriff. You're in over your head." Dawson stiffened, but didn't turn. "They threatened my family. I need evidence." Emily's voice was firm. "You'll get it, but not like this. They'll kill you if spotted." After a tense pause, Dawson relented. "How do I get out?" Emily instructed. "Wait 30 seconds, then move west low in the tree line. A man in a dark jacket will guide you." Dawson asked, "Who are you, people?" Emily was already gone. "Concerned citizens. We'll be in touch." Jack confirmed he'd escorted Dawson safely away. Emily observed 15 more minutes, noting the cartel's departure and Ramsey's satisfied demeanor. At their extraction point, She outlined a plan to disrupt the Reapers until the DEA arrived in 3 days. "We need the network tonight," she said. Jack suggested Doc Harper's basement. "Secure access, his wife's in Billings." Emily agreed. "1 hour. I'll contact the others." They split up, Emily moving through the shadows, her resolve hardening. Willow Creek was her home, and the Reapers would learn the cost of underestimating it. The sun rose over Willow Creek, Montana, painting the wheat fields in golden hues that belied the tension of the past few days. The first day of the summer festival had arrived, and with it, the deadline for Emily Carter's answer to Victor Hammer Ramsey's offer. Emily rose before dawn, her movements precise, as she prepared for a day that could turn into a battlefield. She donned her Daisy's Diner uniform, jeans, t-shirt, blue cap, but beneath the ordinary attire she was ready for action. A combat knife in an ankle sheath, a slim Kevlar vest under her shirt, an encrypted phone linked to the Veterans Network in her pocket. In the kitchen, Helen Carter, her mother, handed her a mug of coffee, her arthritis, swollen hands steady despite the early hour. Her blue eyes, so like Emily's, held a silent question. "I might be late tonight," Emily said, breaking the quiet. Helen nodded, her voice soft but firm. "I'll keep the porch light on." It was their ritual, a promise rooted in years of Emily's military service, come home safe. Emily left as festival volunteers began setting up booths along Main Street, transforming the quiet town into a vibrant marketplace. Colorful banners fluttered between lamp posts and stages were assembled. But the Steel Reaper's presence cast a shadow, 12 members visible, stationed strategically watching with predatory intent. Emily chose to walk to the old mill warehouse rather than cycle, a tactical decision for greater mobility. The warehouse loomed larger in daylight, its rusted fence now guarded by 4 armed Reapers, their eyes scanning the perimeter. Viper, the hard-eyed woman from yesterday, waited at the gate, her leather vest marked "Property of Hammer." Right on time, she said, her gaze assessing Emily with renewed scrutiny. "Hammer's waiting." Emily followed, updating her mental map of the Reaper's operation. The disruptions by the Veterans Network contaminated fuel-disabled comms had taken a toll. Motorcycles sat idle, equipment lay in disarray, and the Reaper's frustration was palpable. Inside the warehouse was a hive of activity, crates of drugs stacked neatly, sleeping bags for the gang, a command center with maps and radios. Ramsey sat at a table studying festival ground plans with Marcus and 2 lieutenants. He dismissed them with a nod as Emily approached. "Decision time," he said, his voice a low growl. Emily had planned her response carefully, not a refusal which could spark violence, but a delay to buy time. "I'm interested," she said, her tone steady, "but I have conditions." Ramsey's eyebrows rose, then he laughed. "You've got nerve. Let's hear them." Emily balanced confidence and deference. First, Daisy's Diner stays protected. No fees, no harassment. Second, I need to know exactly what information you want. Third half, the first month's payment, up front today. Ramsey studied her, reassessing. "You're either brave or stupid making demands." Emily held his gaze. "Just practical. We need clear terms." Tension hung heavy. Then Ramsey nodded. "Diner's protected. You report on police movements, feds, anything suspicious. $250, now rest at week's end if you deliver." He slid an envelope across the table. Emily pocketed it, noting the command center's changes, consolidated radios, new maps, weapons on display. "One more thing," Ramsey added. "I need you to make a delivery at the festival today." Emily's expression stayed neutral. "What kind?" He slid a small box light as a deck of cards toward her. "Blue tent, south end of the festival grounds, noon. A man in a gray suit will ask for a special order from Hammer. Give him this, take his envelope." Emily nodded, pocketing the box, likely drugs. Simple enough. Ramsey's eyes hardened. Noon sharp. Don't get curious about the contents. This is your loyalty test. Pass, you're in. Fail. He left the threat unspoken. Emily nodded. Blue tent, noon, gray suit. Got it. Ramsey's condescending tone grated. Good girl. Viper escorted her out. Warning, don't be late. Emily took a circuitous route back, ensuring no tails, and texted the network package intercept. Blue tent, south, festival ground, noon, gray suit. The reply was instant, acknowledged. Assets in position. At Daisy's, the festival was in full swing Main Street, alive with vendors, music, and crowds. Clara rushed over as Emily entered, relief on her face. Thank God you're back. I was worried. Emily tied on her apron. Sorry, had business to handle. How's it going? Clara lowered her voice. Busy, thank goodness. Any developments? Emily glanced around. Things are moving. Stay alert, act normal, and stay inside this afternoon. Clara nodded, her eyes wide but trusting. Emily worked the morning serving customers and delivering orders, all while tracking reapers now patrolling in pairs, preparing their drug distribution. The Veterans Network was active. Jack, posing as festival maintenance, watched the blue tent. Tom Bradley at a produce stand spotted more reapers. Doc Harper at the first aid station had a medical bag ready for more than bandages. At 11:30, Emily took her lunch break, slipping out the back to approach the festival's south end discreetly. The blue tent, marked Crystal Creations, had few wares and a tense vendor. Emily bought a lemonade nearby, observing. Jack signaled surveillance was in place. At noon, a man in a gray suit approached 50s, salt and pepper hair, exuding authority. Emily's instincts screamed law enforcement, likely DEA, with a concealed weapon and earpiece. This wasn't a buyer. It was a trap. Had Ramsey set her up to test her or expose her? She signaled Jack, mission compromised. He nodded, moving to alert the network. Emily turned away, walking casually north, but a heavy hand gripped her shoulder. Going somewhere. Delivery girl. Marcus's voice was low, menacing his breath. Hot on her neck. Just getting lunch, Emily said calmly. His grip tightened. Thought you had a delivery first. Emily assessed Marcus was armed. Civilians surrounded them. A fight would endanger innocents. Misunderstanding, she said. I was about to deliver. Marcus sneered. Save it. We saw you spot the suit. You're not the only one playing undercover Sergeant Carter. Her military rank confirmed her fears. Ramsey knew more than she'd thought. Let's talk to Hammer, Marcus said, steering her through the crowd. Emily signaled distress to Tom, who nodded subtly. The network would track her. Marcus led her to a black SUV, 2 armed reapers flanking her. Get in, he ordered. Don't try anything. Too many people could get hurt. Emily complied, memorizing the route as they drove to the warehouse. Security had tightened guards at every entrance. Inside, Ramsey waited in the command center, his massive frame radiating fury. You disappoint me, Emily, he said as Marcus pushed her into a chair. A simple loyalty test, and you failed. Emily kept her composure. The man in the gray suit was DEA. You set me up. Ramsey's eyebrows rose. Observant. Yes, he was DEA. How'd you know? Just by looking, Emily offered a half-truth. I was military police before Delta Force. You learned to spot the type. Ramsey leaned forward. Your record ends abruptly. Then there's a gap before you show up here. Explain that. Emily's voice was firm. Classified. Ramsey's laugh was cold. You're not just ex-military. You're a Fed or were. The question is, are you official or a vigilante? Emily stayed silent, neither confirming nor denying. Here's my problem, Ramsey continued. You're working against me. If you were official, a task force would have hit us already. So you're playing hero, maybe, with old contacts. He was close to the truth, but Emily held her poker face. I need to know who else you're working with and who you've contacted. He nodded to Marcus. Take her to the back room. Find out. Marcus shoved her into a small office, empty, except for a metal chair. Her hands were zip-tied to the arms. Get comfortable, Marcus said, testing a knife's edge. We're gonna talk. Emily's training kicked in. She could resist interrogation, but time was short. You're making a mistake, she said calmly. I'm not alone. Marcus paused the knife near her face. Your handyman friend Emily met his eyes. This town has more combat veterans per capita than anywhere in Montana. Special forces included. Doubt flickered in Marcus's eyes, then contempt. Old men swapping war stories. Before Emily could respond, the warehouse plunged into darkness, the generator shutting down, followed by shouts and chaos. The veterans' extraction plan was in motion. Smoke grenades, sound devices, mimicking gunfire system disruptions, creating the illusion of a larger force. Emily activated a hidden EMP in her watch, frying the door's electronic lock and surveillance. She dislocated her thumb, slipping free of the zip ties, and struck Marcus's throat, dropping him, gasping. Cutting her restraints, she positioned herself by the door as dim red emergency lights flickered on. Outside the warehouse was chaos, smoke swirling. Reapers scrambling. Emily moved silently toward a side exit, avoiding confrontation. A massive figure loomed, Ramsey, shotgun in hand. Running Sergeant Carter, he growled. Emily faced him, stance ready. Stand down, Hammer. It's over. He laughed. A minor inconvenience. My boys'll sort this in 10 minutes. Emily nodded toward approaching sirens. That's not our distraction. DEA's here. Ramsey's eyes wavered as sirens grew louder, a full tactical response. You're bluffing. Emily sidestepped as he raised the shotgun, closing the distance with explosive speed. Her strikes were precise, throat solar plexus, a kick unbalancing him. He swung a massive fist, grazing her shoulder, but she redirected his momentum, sending him crashing into crates. A final nerve strike left him paralyzed on the floor, eyes wide with shock. Never underestimate a delivery girl, she said. Jack burst through the side door, tactical vest over flannel. DEA's 3 minutes out. Emily glanced at Ramsey. Supermax cells are cramped, I hear. They fled into the chaos, Tom waiting in a pickup. DEA's moving in, he reported. Most Reapers are surrendering. Emily nodded, planning next steps to secure evidence and protect the network's anonymity. For 356 characters, lessons learned. As the truck sped away, Emily reflected on the past days. Willow Creek's peace had been preserved not by force alone, but by the quiet strength of its community. Ordinary people with extraordinary skills united to protect their home. The lesson was clear. Courage and unity can overcome even the most daunting threats. Every individual, no matter how unassuming, has the power to stand up for what's right. A reminder to listeners that they too can make a difference when they act together to defend their values and communities.